Good evening. Excuse me. Probably should have did that before I got on the mic. All right. Good evening, people. All right. Guys, wanted to talk to you for a little bit, get into it. This is the Daily Rabbit Hole. Before we get started, feel free to send us stars, take donations, subscribe, like, follow, share, do all that kind of stuff that you guys do. All right. So things are hot right now. Things have gotten kinetic. Right now, Israel is getting ready to put boots on ground and go heads up with Hamas. Sorry. Um, this is it. This is where we're at, right? We have the Gaza people basically reporting that they have no food, no water, no light. There is a blackout right now on the Gaza Strip. We have multiple air raids being conducted pretty much day in and day out. And the numbers are coming in the thousands of innocent people losing their lives. Um, Tonight wasn't really about for me to get too much into how it's being played out, but I do want to talk about a couple things with you. It goes into this. Now, don't get me wrong. Um, but with this conflict, it's not new. It's not like it's never happened before. This is something that's pretty common over there. All right, but this is one of the few times that an attack this large was led, and there's no real immediate answers. All right. Now we can ask a couple questions like reports of why was the iron defense system turned off or malfunctioning? How did Israeli intelligence didn't hear anything in chatter or any back channels, anything about this? All right. Hamas has been known to be terrorists, yes, but they weren't that bold. And this isn't for me to go back and forth with nobody. I'm not on anyone's side. I'm not on Israel's side or I'm not on Palestine's side. I'm on America's side. We're going to get into that part of this conversation too. Okay. There's a lot going over there, and funding has been pulled. Like I said, they're going to pull the funding out. They're going to pull the checkbook, and we knew it. We knew it. If Israel can get the money, Ukraine can get the money. And guys understand significance of those two places, Israel and Ukraine. You understand what I'm saying because those two countries are almost one and the same. Not going to go too deep in here with that right now, but you guys know what I'm saying. All right. So Zelensky's already said he's got the funding. The funding is going to be uninterrupted, and we know they're going to fund Israel. That's off. That's off jump. We know France is involved. We know Germany's involved. We know Italy's involved. We know we're involved, and Iran's involved. And you want to throw Russia in there? Sure. France is having its own problems in Africa right now with Niger and Junta, if I pronounced that correctly. They're both pulling out of those areas, pulling out of that little proxy war as we speak. They've already left. They're getting ready to move eastward towards Israel. All right. There's a lot of players in this right now. You have Egypt almost complicit. You have Lebanon right now, full of terrorists shooting missiles from over there too. Like they're shooting from all sides right now. And this is reported on different little small places. Look, man, mainstream media ain't really giving a lot of information like this. It's really a propaganda move. Pete has a good question. I was getting there. You beat me to it. But like I said, the issues in home, I'm gonna be real with you. Okay. I would like to believe that they're not that bold, but with the Hamas leader or Palestinian politician, whoever this man was, said basically there would be a jihad day on October 13th, which is Friday the 13th. And it would be anyone standing against, the Palestine and the movement, whatever. But I would tell you to keep your head on the swivel. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wouldn't take this threat lightly because we've seen what's going on with our border. We've seen all the people come in and they disappear when they get in the major cities. We see it. We see it. Um, I thought it was reluctant that we had protests come in so quickly. As soon as the event took place, 24 hours later, there were thousands of people protesting on the streets of New York, Chicago, LA, Houston, Florida. These people are fighting. These people are getting into it with the Israelis. I mean, the best way I could put it, Pete, is I wouldn't play with it. I wouldn't. I think it is a time right now we need to be honest with ourselves and assume that if America really shows their hand, how many times are they going to keep bluffing? And I say that to say this: they're already here, they're already living in places, and they all have spoken, and they all feel the same way to some degree. And you know, that's a questionable subject to get on with if you really sympathize or empathize with the Palestinians right now. So I mean, yeah, we have an opportunity to see America get kinetic. I mean, I'm hoping for the best. If you want to know the truth, I'm hoping for the best right now. I am. I'm trying to, but I'm not stupid. I see all these gentlemen coming across the border. I see the videos. I see them being lost in cities. I see them where I'm at. I see the influx in different news networks and in different arenas. I tell you this much. They ran on foot and they parachuted in and nobody believed it was happening. That could be easily be us. That could easily be us. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This is one of them situations where I prefer not to be right because as this plays on and the aid is given to Israel, they're not alone. Saudi Arabia is jumping into this. Iran's in it. Everyone's involved right now. They've come too far to turn back. So let's think. If all our guard are being moved out of the state to the border, and then we have the oncoming draft that they're gonna probably draft women. This will be the first time they really draft women, and I hope a lot of you ladies are listening or you're watching this. Um, they're drafting women. Them numbers are bad. No one's meeting their recruiting goals for active duty. No one, not one branch. And if you think they're not gonna put boots on the ground, we've seen this before. Let's always remind everyone of 9/11 and then going into 2003 when we went over there. This is very similar. I'm saying what I'm saying. The only difference this time, someone's trying to force a prophecy. If you want me to tell you the truth, is someone's trying to force it because about a week or two ago, guys, the Palestinians had told the Israelis, "You got to get off the land." And about 2 weeks before that incident, maybe three, you had the UN General Assembly where there was a lot of smaller factions in there condemning Israel. That was a thing. That's why I watched it because you get to understand what the world is really thinking. And if a lot of the world is seeing the problems come out of Israel and Palestine with the whole land grab, if you guys don't know your history on that, please do your history on that because that's you guys really got to understand the history. It was founded in 1948 by Jacob Rothschild. That's Israel. That's not the alleged real one. That's the one that they bought after World War II. But it was purchased by Jacob Rothschild, 1948. Looking at Rogers' comment, New York will get attacked. It seems like it's always the battleground for something. If something was to play out, it's always going to play out there, possibly LA. I think this time is gonna be different. I don't for some reason I in my gut, guys, and I really I don't want to fear monger. You guys know me. But in my gut, I'm telling y'all right now, y'all need to get y'all head on a swivel. If there was ever a time to exercise your second amendment, this would probably be the best moment to do it. And I'm gonna keep it a buck. Do not be naive and think that these folks ain't that bold over here, okay? Let's just be completely honest with each other, okay? Like behind their faith, they will die for that. Like I don't care if you think they go to college or they're too good. People believe what they believe and that's their faith. But what I'm telling y'all in America right now, we've let in something like 2 million people, and that's maybe lowballing it. I know it's 100,000 this past month. I know that. So if I'm looking at this and we're playing a war strategy game right now, okay, if we're playing a war strategy, how do you drag a country into bankruptcy from fighting? You stretch them thin, okay? 4 conflicts: Ukraine, Taiwan, Israel, and the 4th one's gonna be the stretch at home. That 4th one's gonna be the home. So now you got America stretched thin 4 ways. They're funding, and don't think they're not gonna fund this one here. They're gonna find a way to fund it. They're funding this one here too, okay? Don't th they're funding it. They're gonna pull it 4 ways. America's gonna get caught in a situation where it is complete collapse, and if it's true and they want the 90% gone, well, America, they let us fight it out, and then they'll come clean up after. That's my opinion. So this is a strategy, right? Because look at what we're all fighting. I can give you already named 3. We already got 3. Israel, Ukraine, Taiwan. We're funding all 3 of those. The 4th one is it has to be inside because we're already stretched thin foreign wise internationally, but domestic, and you're giving money, hotels and rooms and all this stuff to all these people? Sure. Roger says 3.8 million. 3.8 million. And I look, again, everybody in asylum seekers. I know there's good people inside that number of 3.8 million, but I'm gonna be a buck 50 with you. There's a lot more that aren't there for asylum seeking that outweigh the ones that are there for that. So you gotta assume those are for us because the 26 agencies and the what is it, the police and the sheriff, they still don't outnumber us. If you're gonna do this, this is solely strategy, people. If you were gonna do this, you're either A, these people are gonna on what day start showing their ass and it's complete pandemonium and we go there. Once we go there, understand that the rules go out the door. All right. 2, it could be a set of small events like we've already seen, a lot of destabilization and guerrilla warfare type shit. All right. So, hey, Brandy, see you from Oklahoma. Appreciate you on here tonight. God bless you too. Roger says, did you see the video show red crosses on them? I've seen a multitude of videos. I've seen them dressed in all white. I've seen them dressed in blue sweaters and black pants. I've seen them dressed in gray. I've seen them come in and go through protocol. I haven't seen the crosses yet. I don't know if I've seen that one yet. Maybe it came across, but it doesn't jog my memory. This is what now this is what I was saying. Look at how they raided Israel, right? They came from the air, they came from the sea, they came from, on foot, all land. They just raided the houses. 6 to 12 man teams because this number is important. 6 to 12. 6 to 12 get the job done. Most people aren't, 6 to 12 is a harsh number. Typical tactical team too. 6 to 12 man teams, sometimes 18, just depending on what they're all doing. They were running on foot with no body armor in plain clothes and no uniform. We here have the luxury of maybe some of them might be in uniform, but I'm kinda thinking they're not gonna be in any uniform. I think initially they won't be, but eventually it may come off as that as, they try to gain control of the cities, you start seeing more uniforms. But I've also seen the videos of suspicious things going on in cities and warehouses and little ducked off areas, and I can only point to one conclusion of all of this. Like, Israel said they were infiltrated. I says I'm saying the military equipment on the trade. See, yeah, they're moving it. That's a real thing. We've all seen the videos of that. I have not per se seen too much equipment moved in my area on the trade. Also don't know when the trade runs like that to go look for it. If I did see it, trust me, I'd have recorded it and gave it to you. But if I know if they're doing it, because we have a guard base where I'm at. I know they have their equipment. I know it's coming in. Makes sense. But I've seen the videos. I've seen the different kinds of equipment over here, and I'm telling you now, man, if you were ever gonna exercise that Second Amendment, this is the best time to do it. And it's is it expensive? Depends on what you're looking for. But I can tell you now, the quicker you move, the quicker play the better place you'll be in. Me personally, I wouldn't run a risk of playing around right now in 2023. We've seen what they're all capable of. World leaders, whatever you want to call them, the elite, we know what they're capable of, and it's pretty damn bad. Like I said last time, they can false flag and fake death. I mean, they'll show you images, but someone's gonna someone's gonna get hurt in the middle of all this, and that's what's happening to the Israeli people and the Gaza people and the Palestinian people. A lot of people are getting caught in this because world leaders are basically playing whose wang is bigger right now and trying to usher in some type of prophecy that may have already happened, but to save their own asses, they're gonna push it. Whether you believe me or not, at this point, I don't care. Whether you don't, it is. Whatever you believe at this point, it doesn't really matter. What matters is there's cold hard truths in this country right now. If that number's correct, Roger gave me, there's 3.8 million people in here who are allegedly being armed, housed, and funded. If you want to think about the broadcast system thing, that was just testing all the phones to see if they were live. It wasn't just testing our phones, it was testing the new phones they probably gave out also. It would make sense. When I really thought about that, I was like, these phones work. You test that enough. But let's think about it. If you just added 3.8 million new lines of contact, you would have to test that emergency broadcast system to make sure it worked, and they've all been updated with the new software or whatever. So yeah, because if you looked at your phone, my phone was basically downloading for a week and a half straight before. So it was all kinds of downloads coming to phone. So if I got them downloads, I know them same folks got the same doggone downloads because they gave them touchscreen. They don't use flip phones no more like that no more for real. That's because they can't track you. So if you want to track these people too, preferably with satellite internet, because Amazon launched their rocket along with Starlink in the sky. So clearly there's internet in the sky now. You would want to make sure that those phones are working with the satellite system. Satellite phones that you issued out to all the senators, excuse me. You want to make sure those work too. God forbid those shit don't work. I'm telling you now, it's a good chance. And don't forget that the government shutdown's only, I may have lost count, 29 days away, 30ish. And we just got a new House Speaker, Scalene. I think that's his name, Scalene. He's in the House now. He's being nominee for the Speaker. He hasn't got it yet, excuse me, but he is the nominee. Okay, so now they can make sure someone's in there to sign them big ass checks for him and shit. But I say let's play this by ear. I just say get yourself together. Roger says, I think the test was a graph of all the land, test where everyone was located and all weapon locations. Man, at this point, they're testing everything. I couldn't tell you definitively what they're doing, but I if I had to be a gambling man and a guessing man, I would say they're getting ready for something to happen here. 3.8 million people coming into a country that looking real weak right now because of our reserve numbers, our active duty numbers, socially, financially, emotionally, spiritually. America's in a bad place right now, man, and it's I don't it's hard to explain in so many words, like, but we have to sense and know and see. They're gonna try it. Now, do they try it October 13th? I guess we'll be here to see, and I guess I'll go live when it happens. If it does, that'll be, one hell of a show. I just, I'm not playing around with this. I'm not. If you wanna hear it from my mouth, I'm not playing around with this. I just urge you guys not to play around with it either, because we're seeing so much propaganda pumped out right now from CNN and Fox News. Everyone's pumping propaganda. All I've heard are they beheaded babies and when they're kidnapping people. War is ugly. What I'm concerned with are the innocent people in the middle of this because while this happens, I'm not gonna sit here and act like Israel's innocent. I just won't do that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna act like the Gaza are innocent. I'm not finna do that. I'm not playing this game of who's right and who's wrong. It sounds so familiar to our problems here. Like you have to be smart. Like I'm not getting sucked into this. And I've noticed that through a lot of different people, a lot of pages, a lot of content creators. A lot of people are picking sides for likes. A lot of people are picking sides because maybe they feel it is true to their soul. I'm not picking sides with any of them folks but the folks here. And it's some of y'all I wouldn't pick sides with just because it's too many people in America to trust. Everybody ain't on the right frequency. I ain't gonna lie to you. We gotta be real cautious because everyone's waiting for this to blow. You have all types of extremists waiting on this, domestic extremists waiting on this. So are we going to war? And if so, what happens to America if we're in war? I would challenge you guys to go look at what Fallujah looked like and then think about here and kind of play it like that. And I've never been there. I've watched the videos. I've seen them when I was in, training or whatever. Nothing crazy in the Air Force, but suspension of the Constitution, complete anarchy, martial law, uprisings, small factions being created, tribal alliances, backstabbing. America's gonna be rough, rough. And it's really important that you have a community that you trust and a tribe or a group of people that you believe in because if you're alone, you won't you it's a slim chance you're gonna make it. It's a slim chance, man. Roger, you're not wrong. He says problem is war is all played out by all high powers for war, depopulation, and money. Yeah, it's a double whammy. They get to collect insurance off of our bodies and sell it, sell the cadavers. They're gonna double fist it as much as they can. That's what they've always done. But what I'm telling you guys is find you someone you trust and you can be around and that can help you because it's gonna strengthen numbers in this situation. Because if you watch the footage and if the footage is legit, I always have to say that because they can pull a quick one with playing old videos and old pictures, showing you old pictures and stuff. So If that is them running on ground and they were going to each house about 4 to 6 deep, sometimes 12 deep, it happens quickly. You have to have a plan, and in numbers, it helps, but again, these people looked up in the sky at the fair and this concert, and they saw people coming down and didn't take it serious, and it just went from there. Conceal carry, do what you need to do safely, smart, conceal carry. I'm not telling you guys to get out here and be lawless. That's not what I'm gonna do. What I'm gonna tell you is I would definitely carry and keep a head on the swivel, without a doubt. Um, get you some extra food, just get you some rice and some canned goods. You got a while before the lights go out if something did happen. They cut the lights out on Gaza. Took them about 3, 4 days to do it, give or take. So once them lights go out, hard times will come and they follow. And just because it's dark don't mean it stops. There's fighting at night too. There's fighting early in the morning. I just honestly hope and pray that this message gets out and everyone's wising up and maybe seeing it. Even if you're not a huge gun person, go get you one. Who cares you're a liberal? Who cares? Because guess what? They all had weapons. They didn't care. They don't care who you pray to. They're not going to care about any of that. He who has the biggest gun wins, or the smartest one. So I'm being honest with you. War is ugly and it's bad, and we've never seen it in modern times like this. I mean, if you're a gang member, you've probably seen something very similar to this. If you're kind of in that lifestyle, you kind of seen something very similar to this within America. Shit happens here. But what we're talking about when watching the Palestinians and the Israelis fight and argue in the middle of the street and they're marching and you're hearing death to America, which when we get into that conversation too after this, what I'm about to say. We're we're getting these people in here by the droves, okay? Syrians are on their way over here too, from what I'm hearing. Little rumblings about that too. The Syrians are over here. So everybody who has a legitimate problem with this country is here right now. And they're all on the same page. And could October 13th be it? I can't tell you. I could just tell you to be prepared and keep your head on the swivel. But actual conflict here, that's the only thing we got counting on us is the 330 million firearms in America and the veterans and the hunters and to be honest, the criminals. We're gonna need them too. We're gonna need everybody on deck. If this is a real event and it gets kinetic, we're gonna need everybody. Period. It won't be time to try to find yourself an enemy. Protect yourself. There's domestic extremists who want this to happen in the country too, who want to go get chances at purging or whatever you want to call it, or fighting or race eradication, whatever. There's still domestic groups like that here. So we got a double whammy of worrying about our Americans who are unhinged and feel a certain way, and other factions inside the country who have an issue or feel some type of way about Americans. Okay. So keep watching those videos. I'm watching them. At least the ones I found on Telegram. What I'm telling you now is you didn't hear that much conflict about Ukraine. They didn't show you that much footage. They're scaring you guys. They're trying to scare us. This is why it's nonstop conflict, nonstop footage. You're trying to scare us right now. Illinois. Only thing I've heard about Illinois is the protests of getting a little bit more aggressive. They're getting larger. I know they've been having a lot of riots out there in Chicago. Did I miss something, Roger? What else is going on in Chicago? It's so much going on there, but it's a lot. Like, it's a lot of places right now in the uproar. It's multiple cities, and it keeps growing, and it's happening around the colleges too. I just keep your heads on the swivel, man. Keep your head on the swivel. Cause last thing you want is to wake up and you hear gunshots, and them gunshots are close, or you hear that knock at your door, and that go for myself. We all gotta be aware. We all gotta be vigilant because we're eclipsing an event that we haven't seen. So Pete says we've been in two big wars in America. I don't think we've ever been in anything like this. I mean, I can't say that I wasn't there for the Civil War and the Revolutionary War. What makes this one the big enchilada? Okay. So what makes this one the big enchilada is that this is gonna be all out conflict. Not like the Civil War, not like the Native American wars and Little Bighorn. This one's gonna be different. This is the final one. This is what Bible prophecy is talking about. This is the fall of New Rome. America's Rome, same story, same exact pretty much chips that fell. Immigration picked up, they were stretched thin on wars, and it's just like they rebranded. It looks like they're gonna try to rebrand the bricks. In America, no one's ever done anything like this. Like, we've had espionage, don't get me wrong. I know there's espionage happening and spies and all that, but America's full of sleeper cells. And a lot of people are now just hearing what this term sleeper cell is. Sleeper cell is just a hidden faction inside of a government that means to do it no good. Just a terrorist group hiding, sleeper cell. And then they're gonna wait to the right moment to commit mass atrocities. And they're already doing it. I wouldn't be so shocked to say that most of these events may be them and our own government. But what makes this the big one, who's actually ran over here and tried us? No one's actually no one's really just ran over here in the last 20, 30 years and went out full conflict. We've had our own little skirmishes of civil wars, race wars, gang wars. Those are like, little proxy wars inside of the country, but as far as the citizens taking arms, citizens ain't taking arms in about 200, I wouldn't say 200 years because the 70s was kind of hot. So this is the big enchilada because I feel like everyone knows what's going on, or at least the 10% or 5% of us who understand. And we've been hidden government or every little small government possible, only to be destabilized and find out that our government has turned on us. This is what makes it the big enchilada. This is the last fight for freedom, allegedly, if you believe that. This is the battle for souls. This is spiritual warfare. This was in the Bible. This is in the Quran. This is in the Torah. It's in the Talmud. It's in Native American proverbs. This is damn stories in every damn book possible. And it's either being forced or it's actually playing out. And me personally, I think it already happened. That's why they recorded the event in history and hid the books for later, and someone found the books. Nonetheless, it's just playing out again because the certain group of people don't know how to fucking let go of goddamn control. And to be honest, they didn't even have to do us like this. But because they're evil, full of shit, and selfish as hell, we're in this situation right now. So we're not only are we fighting a hidden faction, we're also allegedly could be fighting our own damn government. If that resonates as why as this is the big enchilada. Bernie says I live in a small town. The police are keeping an eye on MS-13 here. You said Oklahoma, right? That makes a lot of sense too. Yep, Oklahoma. Yeah, that makes sense. I hope everyone's police are working in their favor right now because you can't really trust them either to an extent. So, Pete, I hope that answers your question. What makes it the big enchilada? That does. And, we're the only country that really has firearms. If you guys wanna know some irony about Israel, after the attack happened, the Israeli government said, "Hey, we're gonna give you guys firearms," after they had been invaded. We already have our firearms. We don't have to be invaded. No one has to issue us weapons. That's the difference between us and a lot of countries, all right? That's the difference between the Second Amendment and whatever the hell the other countries got. Because the truth of the matter is, the Israelis had to arm their people, which is what's gonna happen if you get invaded on foot and there's no real immediate warning. Citizens gonna have to start shooting back. So they need to have weapons. America, we have weapons. We don't have crazy restrictions to get a gun. Now there are people who shouldn't have a gun, I'll admit that, but shit, there's also people who shouldn't have kids. Keep letting them have kids. So I mean, one for the other, right? I honestly think though, we have a good opportunity to come out of this, but we're gonna have to do it together. If you know, get cool with your neighbors, find someone to be there for you. If you're old and you're not into that, find somebody who can protect you. Bring something to the table because if it does go hot here, at least I know in America we got a fighting chance, literally a fighting chance. Why do we have a fighting chance? They don't know the lay of the land like that here. They don't know the cities like that. Only people who know the cities like that live in the cities. Yeah, you can get a map and a graph and all that of and topographical map of a city, but you got to know how to move through that city. There's a lot of variables in play right now that we can still come out of better. I'm not gonna say everyone gonna survive it, but I am gonna say we can come out of it better. But I have to tell you this, man. Better exercise that 2A bit, but I'm sorry, I got allergies. I'm not on anything. Please don't judge me. My nose itches. So that's my words for you guys. I wasn't gonna get on here tonight and be too detailed, loose facts, but I really wanted to talk to you about the events going on in America. I need you guys to wake up. I need you guys to share this, like I always say, and let people know. If they don't believe you, maybe stop talking to them and just let it happen. You got to protect your home. You can't make everyone see this. It's fun and games until they're running around your neighborhood screaming. Because it could happen. Will America let it happen? That's the $1,000,000 question. Are we gonna let it happen? I'm not calling for nobody to get out here and get crazy. I'm calling for you to protect your home, protect your family, protect your livelihood. That's all. Get right with whomever you need to get right with and go from there. Because even in the Bible, they still fought wars. If they weren't exempt then, you're not exempt now. And as this conflict in Israel and Gaza keeps flaming, and Iran and everyone's fanning the flames, it's gonna get nuclear. It is because Russia's already trying to get the testing ban lifted off of his country. He's gonna test that shit that he got. Everybody's getting hot. Who gonna make the first move? In history, America's the only one that's gone nuclear. That was World War II, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They also, they're the first to do it. That's why everyone was like, it's wrong because America did it first. But what I'm here to tell you now, since then, last 70 plus years, we are no longer the only country with that kind of weaponry. Roger, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all, Roger. This is why I'm saying they're forcing the prophecy. Listen to me, hear me out for a second, right? Let's say the Bible, let's say all your Bibles are just records of the same event occurring in history. Some of these events are conjoined together. Let's say throughout time, everyone's writing books because if you're a record keeper, you keep records and you write down everything about wars and all of that. And during this event, there was a lot of shit that was going on, metaphysical, interdimensional, all that, right? We find the Bible now, we're thinking like it hasn't happened. No, it has happened and it keeps playing out. Roger says Freemasons write the Bible, rewrite the Bible. It gets real close. And if you have a head start on the lingo and you know the Hebrew language, you can write that Bible however you want to because no one's gonna actually disprove the events. And if they do try to disprove it, you're gonna call them anti-Semitic, crazy, or loon, or shoot them. What I'm saying, like I said earlier, forcing a prophecy is something that seems to keep happening and happening. But this group keeps losing. This is why they keep getting kicked out of every country. Think about it. They get kicked out of every country they've ever established. So when we look at what's going on right now, by no means am I being anti-Semitic. I'm just talking about world events and events from the Bible. Seems like someone's trying to kick them out again. War is ugly. It was ugly when we did it. Like I don't understand where everyone's in an uproar about Iran and not Iran, excuse me, Palestine and Israel. What do you think we did to them? They didn't televise what we did to them. They don't televise a lot of wars, people. You see a little bit, but you don't get a lot of that of what they're doing to each other. War is gruesome, people. If you believe the Geneva Convention works, then I advise you to go look at the last 20 years and see how many Geneva Convention violations were going on from both sides. I need y'all. I know it's scary. I get that. And I get the fear when you hear the women and children being attacked because women and children are supposed to be off limits. But in a real war, how do you think you become a slave or a prisoner of war? This same outcry could be given to the indigenous people of this country. The same cry could be given to the Africans who were sold into slavery. The same cry could be given to the Slavics. I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat this war thing to y'all. War is grim. It's not pretty. And a lot of people out here in these times kind of serenaded and sensationalized war. War is not sexy. Nothing about war is sexy. It's ugly, it's brutal, and it's disgusting. But that is our nature. And the one time that nature, I'm okay with that nature to a certain extent is in the situation that we're in as people right now inside this country. Again, if you're watching the same news, always remember everything you see is not a coincidence. They're showing it to you for a reason. They showed you 24 hours after the whole announcement of the war over there that the groups were protesting all over the country. That was not by accident. Do you know how long it takes to get a permit, a protesting permit? It takes a while. These people are ready. And the police, again, look at the police. Some of them, if we look at a lot of protests, police typically get violent with protesters. They're not getting too violent with these people. And if they are, they're not showing it. We've seen them pepper spray people for years. The hippies pepper sprayed, demonstrators pepper sprayed, the bonus protests pepper sprayed and shot. The beginning movements of Black Lives Matter, anything before that, we're not going to talk about that because I know too. But the beginning, when it was still pure, the real movement, pepper sprayed. Occupy Wall Street, pepper sprayed. The only groups they haven't pepper sprayed are the LGBTQ and the foreigners. Think about that. Oh, sorry, he's right, Jan 6th. I wonder why. Always notice the ones they don't pepper spray are that's theirs. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. If you listen to what I'm saying, you hear what I'm saying. They only pepper spray the ones that aren't theirs. Think about that. Thank you, Dare, for saying something because he also proved the point that way. They don't typically pepper spray the ones they created. And in New York has the largest Jewish community in the nation. Also a hefty Palestinian community too. So what I'm saying to y'all, I don't care if you got a crossbow, you gotta go digging with a baseball bat, or you can make booby traps. Get yourself together, get you some food, get you a nice supply of water, at least something that can last you a couple days that gives you time to think to yourself. 3 days, 4 days, if you can sit there for 4 days and protect yourself, you're fine. I'm just telling you, protect yourself and know when to flee. Everybody ain't Rambo. Everybody ain't got training. Don't sit there and try to Duke Nukem it and fight it out if you ain't got to. Get up out of there if you can. Be careful with that too. I saw the videos of the people trying to flee in cars. It was absolutely brutal. Okay, I've seen. I'm looking at these videos. I don't post these videos on here. I like to keep my page. I already got flagged for one of the videos, but what I'm saying is protect yourself, protect your family, exercise that Second Amendment, and always remember, not a war crime if it's the first time. All I'm saying. Protect yourself, guys, because we're in a battle right now. They're playing with prophecy, they're playing with energy and spirits that we don't even comprehend. And I know I sound crazy talking like that, but I'm telling you the truth. These people play on a whole other battlefield that we don't know nothing about. They got books, spells, potions, like little rituals they do. Look, man, these people are on a whole other level. If you think it's just surface level and it's just war, they're just collecting souls right now. That's all they're doing. So don't be deceived with this, guys. Also, don't be afraid. Fight through it because your livelihood is going to depend on it. And this isn't the first of the uprisings. Watch, you're going to start seeing Syrian flags. Iraq has already said they're joining the resistance with Hamas. Iraq is already involved. Iraq, Syria. Who else we got in there? Iran's in there. You know, Afghanistan's in there right now. I don't think they're not. A lot of the equipment that those guys used was American, and the reports was it was being sold from Ukraine and Iran. Where they get it from? Not hard to realize. Put two and two together. We gave nothing but weapons to Ukraine, and what they do, they turn around and sold them. We left the weapons there in Afghanistan. What they do, they turn around and sold them. Both got U.S. marks on it. So don't sit here and act like I don't want no one to sit here and act like it's just Israel and Gaza. It's not. It's all of them. It's everybody. All the major powers in the world are involved right now. But my biggest message to you guys, thanks to JoJo. My biggest message to you guys is stay vigilant, keep your head on a swivel, prepare yourselves. If you got to go out, go get you something. Do what you got to do. I don't care. I'm just gonna tell you guys the truth because I wouldn't want to sit here and we saw those people running on foot, running in houses. That stuff is true. They're still kidnapping people. Like I keep saying war's ugly. They're kidnapping people. Excuse me. They're kidnapping people. They're taking people hostage. They're kicking in doors. Get some flashlights. Excuse me, Roger's correct. Get some flashlights. Get plenty of batteries. I don't care if you got 2 flashlights. You better have all the batteries in the world for them 2 flashlights. I would say get more. Do what you gotta do, because those people kicked in doors. Those people had to take hostages. People were outside. They shot up cars. Darren says after the first 24 hours, the interstate will shut down. Looting and shooting will take place. No cops. They'll be protecting their families. Make a choice to hunt down or head for the or hunker down. Excuse me, hunker down and head for the mountains. Get you a bug out bag. Thank you, Darren. You guys got 24 hours, and it ain't easy for everyone to leave. You know, some people got kids. Kids make it harder to travel. Old people make it harder to travel, so some people do have to hunker down. If you're gonna hunker down, you better have somebody in the house with you that's really gonna help you. Get to the mountains if you can. Um, you got 2 choices: sit there or run. And if you run and you get stuck on the interstate, that's even a worse situation because everybody ain't made for outdoors. Thank you for that comment, Darren. Like, we all got a choice to make. We all got a choice to make. Roger says they got road blockers out in Florida not posted up yet. They're getting ready. They're getting ready. I full heartedly believe it. They're getting ready, without a doubt. You're either gonna hunker down or you're gonna run. And if you run, you run a risk of running into them and getting caught out in the open. Or if you hunker down, you run a risk of them trying to get in your house, or worse, the looters and everyone else try to get in your house. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's a double-edged sword. So I don't want everyone to think that one plan is better than the other. Whatever you're capable of doing is what is how you're gonna survive. I'm not gonna get on here and talk about the Patriots and who's not ready and not ready. Man, look, America is not ready for this as a whole. Yeah, we got a lot of veterans here. We got a lot of hunters. We got a lot of gun enthusiasts. But man, if they rolling 6 to 12 to each house, you gotta be smart. You gotta be smart. If they running 6 to 12 man teams, you better be smart. You better get them before they get you. You better see it early or you better get out because those people are willing to handle business for their faith. We've seen how devout the Islamic faith is when it comes to a cause. Do not act like they didn't rock out with our military for 20 years in Afghanistan and flip flops. You guys, you want a history lesson on how devout these people are? Go watch Restrepo. Go watch the footage on YouTube of them fighting. If you think America's badass and we do have a badass military, let me tell you, them boys rocked out with flip flops and AKs for 20 years. So don't think like just because they're common people over here, you think they're domesticated. Man, these don't be deceived. These people are ready. And numbers matter. Numbers matter. Skill matters, ability matters. Get you something, practice, dry fire in your home, do what you need to do, go to the range, get you some time in, or go to the woods or go to the desert, wherever you're at. Only thing I can keep saying and keep reiterating is that they're here. Roger said it, 3.8 million. I try not to throw out too many numbers. I don't want to be wrong too many times. I'm just fucking with you. 3.8 million is a lot. You can scatter 3.8 million around a lot of places. For you small cities and you small towns, it will be you who holds up the longest. You cities, you criminals, you gang members, you extremists, you guys are going to be the resistance, the beginning of the resistance. Why? Because you're in the most heavily populated part of America, the major cities. Look at a map and see where all the populations are located at. They're all located across the water. around, like, the coastline, you know what I mean? And they're in major cities. So if they take the cities, they take America, then they gotta move inland and, get to the Appalachians in the mountains. You gotta do what you gotta do out there. I ain't playing with them Appalachian men out there. The boys are something else. You could you imagine? You got the NATO walking around the woods and they hear the dong da dong dong dong. Scariest shit in the world. Dong 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 dong. Go ahead and count that over. You done lost that. They so comfortable, they pulled out the banjo just to let you know they was there. You ain't gonna make it out. And I know it's funny. I know it's funny, but America has an opportunity to really stand for America. Like the idea of America, we can actually be that, but it's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be ugly. And we haven't seen this kind of ugly in a long time, at least not all of us. For the ones who live in the inner city or who's been through something in life, you may have seen the ugly and you understand. But for a lot of Americans, and y'all know I'm not lying to you, a lot of people ain't seen the ugly of warfare, whether it's watching it on YouTube, deploying in real life. They don't understand it gets ugly. There's no real rules. It isn't. So I won't sit here and try to sugarcoat that. That's why I said I'm not gonna sit here and take sides on this whole conflict. War is ugly. The only people that lose in this war are the poor people in the middle of it. They're the only ones that lose in this. The rich people, they're not even affected. They're just sitting back watching it, making it happen. Notice Zelensky is still alive. If he was really in this war, like, come on, guys. You gotta know Zelensky is not out here picking up a rifle and shooting. You can't believe that. You can't. He's not out there doing anything. You ever notice he's the cleanest person every interview? He just wears green because it works well with the crowd. He got high numbers when he wore green. That's marketing. Told you guys. Business major, man. That's marketing. He never looks dirty. He never looks stressed out. You could tell he's not fighting. He's not even there. Don't be deceived. You'll know who's out there fighting. You'll see it on their face. That man ain't out there fighting. Neither is Putin. Neither is our president, Sleepy Joe. Oh, Puppet Joe. Trump ain't out there fighting. I know y'all like to sit here and say Trump 2024. That man ain't on the front line either. If this conflict pop off, the politician out there fighting with y'all is the politician you better elect. Cause the ones we got in office ain't stepping they old asses out there to help us do shit. I ain't believe it if you want to. Believe it if you want to. They're not coming out there. So my advice, and I'll leave this with you guys. I didn't plan on staying on here too long tonight. I did have to talk to you a little bit. I like to do my Wednesday night shows. Just kind of a habit now. Their kids won't be there either. He's right, Darren. You're not wrong. Before I go, that was a good comment. Their kids won't be there either. Now, if they got heart, they will because they know they're citizens and they know if all that shit crumble, that privilege goes away. I don't care where you hide at, you got to come out eventually. But I wasn't planning on staying on here too long with you guys tonight. I just wanted to talk to you, give you an update, let you know where I was at with this whole situation. All the questions, I appreciate them. Pete, tell you this now. Darren, I tell you this now. Everybody, Brandy, Roger, get yourselves prepared. Keep your head on the swivel. You guys know what I'm talking about. You guys understand what I'm saying. All right. It's okay to be afraid, but courage is what you do when you're afraid. Being brave is just the act of doing something when you're afraid. All right. You guys stay smart, stay vigilant, stay aware. This is the Daily Rabbit Hole. You have a good